Hello, good afternoon. On behalf of Read Exhibitions, welcome back to India Warehousing Show Digital Week, Day 2. I would also like to thank all my speakers for taking out time to share their insights. Now we have a very interesting presentation coming up on the topic Importance of Insulation in Building and Construction, Industry in 21st Century. I'm pleased to introduce the presenter, Vimal Paul, Technical Marketing Manager, ROXUL Technical Insolution India Private Limited. As an experienced technical professional, he has been working with ROCKWOOL for more than 8 years now and has an overall 14 years of industry experience in energy efficiency products and thermal insulation. He is also an EIIF certified tip check thermal insulation audit engineer and has conducted over 40 insulations audits. Now, without a further talk here, I return the time over to our presenter, Vimal. Vimal, over to you.
Thank you, Reba. So before starting with the presentation, I'd like to show you a small video about our company. So Reba, can you just start the AV?
Enrich people's everyday life. A material created in fire can protect us from fire, to create buildings that safeguard our cities, our families, and our property, and give everyone peace of mind. Stone can keep us cool in hot climates and warm in cold ones. We can create insulation that maintains optimum indoor temperatures, as well as letting buildings breathe and protecting us against mold. The quiet power of stone can block the sound and vibration you don't want to hear, improving indoor acoustics, creating buildings where you could hear a pin drop. Stone has unique aesthetic qualities. Freely shaped and molded to an architect's vision, it can change skylines and bring communities together. We can use stone to control water flow. Stonewool can absorb and slowly release water, helping us to grow more food using less resources and to create underlays that reduce flooding. We also use stone's water repellency to create building solutions that protect property and people. There's nothing more durable than stone. It keeps its shape, toughness, and thermal performance for decades without deterioration. Stone can be used time and again. We can transform old stone wool into commercially valuable new products. In over 8 decades, we've created a wide range of products, and there are more to come. So follow us and see how ROCKWOOL is releasing the 7 strengths of stone to improve life for everyone. ROCKWOOL, releasing the natural power of stone.
Thank you, Reba. Can you just extend me the sharing screen?
Mr. Paul, I've given you the access.
Yeah, thanks. So good afternoon all. I hope the screen is visible to everyone now. So the topic for this particular webinar is the importance of insulation in building and construction industry in the 21st century. So here we will focus more on why the insulation is actually a product of use or benefit in particularly the building and constructions, and why it is a preferred product when we talk about many different properties like fire properties, the thermal insulation, that is the heat insulation control, the acoustic control, and all. So to start with, I think we have already seen a video about our company. This is just a slide which shows you those different things. First of all, we want to tell you that it is a Danish multinational company. with more than 80 years of experience in this particular stone wool manufacturing. By large, today we are the largest manufacturers of this particular material, that is the stone wool insulation, with a direct sales presence in more than 120 countries and manufacturing facilities in more than 45 countries. So this is our presence world over. If you see these different names here, ROCKWOOL Technical Insulation, ROCKWOOL Fire Safe Insulation, and ROCKWOOL Core Solutions, and these different
Mr. Paul,
names.
sorry to disturb you. The screen is not visible.
Not
if
visible.
You can.
Just a minute, let me check. So is any other screen visible, or no screen is visible at all?
We can just see you, but can't see your slides.
Oh. We'll just leave and rejoin again, and let's check it. क्लिक नहीं हो रहा है, जब हम स्क्रीन सेलेक्ट करके then we आपके इसमें हो रहा है क्या, देखें। करो, शेयर करो, नीचे देखो शेयर। आपका शेयर हो, अनशेयर कर दो। ओके, आया ना? ओके। So I guess it's okay now.
Yes, it's fine now. We can see.
It's fine. Yeah. Sorry for the interruption. I was just telling you about this company profile of ours. You can see that it is a Danish multinational company with over 80 years of experience in this particular Stonewool manufacturing, with presence in more than 120 countries as far as sales is concerned. And as far as the manufacturing facilities are concerned, we have around 45 manufacturing facilities. So we have many verticals under this Stonewool manufacturing, because there are many products that can be manufactured from the stone. So here you can see the red ones. These are the main segments that we are catering to in the Indian continent. So here you can see the ROCKWOOL technical insulation, ROCKWOOL fire safe insulation, and ROCKWOOL core solutions. Technical insulation is for the process industry. We have certain good products which can go for the pipelines, the tanks, and all for heat loss control. And then we have the fire safe insulation, which is specifically targeted for building insulation. So here we have a full range of products where you talk about roofing, you talk about wall partitions, and anything that is required in a building where insulation is needed, we have a product for that. And ultimately, we have this core solutions, which is specifically for the sandwich panels and all. We have a particular product which is targeted at this particular segment. So apart from this, the others we are not doing here in India, like Lapinus special fibers, which these are fibers manufactured for automotive brakes and all. And then we have the Groden, the green color Groden. It literally means that we are also manufacturing these hydroponic cubes that which are manufactured from stones, which are able to absorb water and keep them inside so that the plants can be grown in them. And then we have the rock panel, which is for the exterior cladding in buildings. Rock phone, this is the acoustic ceilings and wall solutions that we have. So basically, all these products are having the main material, or the, you can say the material is particularly stone wool. We will, when we go through these all slides that I'm going to show you, you will be able to understand what this stone wool is and what we are. So this is about the brand that we own, that is the ROCKWOOL. When in many cases, people just think of ROCKWOOL as a generic name, but we want to tell you that it's not a generic name. It is a brand which belongs to ROCKWOOL International Group. So what is the product that we manufacture? The product that we manufacture can be called as stone wool, because it is manufactured from basalt rocks. The ROCKWOOL Group, they have this slogan that is release the natural power of stone to enrich modern living. If you see the statement, it literally means that we are manufacturing these insulation from stones, and we are converting it into a product which is able to enrich modern living by way of the many different properties these materials bring to you, specifically the acoustic, fire, and the thermal properties. When we talk about insulation, we always say that we have 7 different properties of this material, which you can get from a single material, specifically the fire resilience, thermal properties, acoustic capabilities, robustness, aesthetics, water properties, and also the circularity or the recyclability of the material. So it's a very versatile material. I will, in the end of this presentation, I'll also show you some applications, or maybe the products that we have for different applications. As of now, the main theme of the presentation, that is what is the use of insulations in specifically the 21st century buildings. So if you see today's buildings, they consume around 40% of the energy that are produced, which means energy produced, it literally means the fossil fuels are used so that the electricity can be generated. So out of this total energy produced, we can say that around 40% of the energy that is produced is consumed by our buildings. So when we talk about fossil fuels, we can relate it to all the ozone layer depletion, the climatic changes and all. So ultimately, this is going to be having a big effect on the environment itself. So you can see the industry is around 28% and the buildings are around 40%. So we have a bigger responsibility than the industries. So if we want to talk about the global challenges, you will see that if we don't control the energy consumed by our buildings, this is going to increase by around 30%. The energy consumed today will increase by 30% by the year 2050. And it is also good news that up to 90% of these energies, you can say, it can be saved. And today, when we are talking about net zero houses and net positive houses and sort of, it is imperative that the use of insulation is going to be a big game changer. You'll see in the coming slides that how insulation is able to contribute to energy efficiency and heat control, the acoustic control and all. So these are some other global challenges where the insulation has a bigger role. 30% of European sleep is currently disturbed. So when I say sleep is disturbed, that is because of the acoustic noises and maybe the other chemicals and other things that are being used in the building products or somewhere. So you have to use a proper building product. You should use a proper insulation material, which is going to give you a good acoustic effect so that the outside noises don't get inside your buildings. In schools with no sound absorption, children miss 25% of words spoken by their teachers. So this is ultimately going to affect the knowledge level or the growth of the children. So again, this is related to the sound levels in the schools, which can be done good with the proper insulation material. And lastly, more than 50% of the Europeans who die because of fire, there is a high chance that they have died of smoke and the toxic gases which rise when a fire happens, which literally means you have to use a proper material which is giving you low smoke or has a very less toxic gases coming out of it in case of a fire. This is about the CO2 emissions that happen, and we want to control it with a proper material or a proper system. So here you will see it's a graph which is given by the McKinsey. They had done a study to understand what is that material or system which can actually give you a good CO2 saving. And it was found that insulation improvements or a proper insulation in a building or any industry also can actually give you the most profitable CO2 savings. So if you're putting a biodiesel plant or if you're going to go for a forestation or a good wind turbines and all, ultimately the insulation improvement is something which will give you some positive savings as far as the CO2 is concerned. So again, here insulation is having a bigger impact than any other CO2 controlling methods. Now, why is insulation having such huge impact? This is mainly related to the lower thermal conductivity of the insulation materials. If you consider the statement given here, 50 mm or the 50 mm thickness of a Stonewool insulation material, which has a thermal conductivity in the range of 0.04 watt per meter Kelvin, is almost equal to a 1 meter brick wall. So you can imagine just a 50 mm thickness is going to give you the equal R value for a 1 meter brick. So that is the impact of the insulation material, the higher thermal performance or the high insulation value of such insulation materials. This will ultimately help you save energy and also bring comfort to the buildings. Now, when we talk about insulation, there are many properties you need to consider while selecting an insulation material, because you know that you have to use insulation. You know there are many benefits, but you cannot have all the benefits in any single material. So you'll have to be very careful while selecting insulation material. You have to know what is the higher property which is of primary criteria or the primary importance for you. Basically, in most of the buildings, the primary criteria can be fire performance, thermal performance, acoustic performance, and also the durability or the longevity of the insulation material. And then there can be some secondary criteria, specifically like mechanical strength, dimensional stability, breathability, water absorption, or water repellence in insulation materials. So as I told you before, there is no material that has been manufactured till date which can actually match all of these requirements in a single material. So you have to pick and choose the criteria or the performance parameters that you are expecting in the insulation material. These are some insulation materials that are available for you to select, basically the inorganic insulation materials and also the organic insulation materials and also some new developments. Our material, that is the Stonewool insulation material, falls under the inorganic insulation materials as it is manufactured from basalt rocks. There are also other materials in this inorganic group like glass wool, slag wool, foamed glass, ceramic fibers, and aerogel. And then you have this organic insulating materials, which are basically the petroleum product materials like expanded polystyrene, extruded polystyrene. So all these are actually organic ones. And then we also have other classification, basically the mineral wool family. We wanted to put this slide in front of you because there is a very big confusion in the market when we talk about mineral wool, stone wool, and slag wool. These are terminologies which are used interchangeably, and in many cases it is confused with each other. So here we want to tell you that when we talk about mineral wool, it is actually a bigger family which consists of 4 different insulation materials. In fact, it can be any mineral wool product, or I can say any product that is manufactured from a mineral can be called as a mineral wool. But sadly, in most of the specifications that are circulated in the market, you will see that they just bluntly tell it as a mineral wool of so and so density and so thickness, which is very wrong. Considering that if I just state it as mineral wool, the contractor or the supplier can assume any of these insulation materials, and he can actually supply any of these insulation materials. So you can see the glass wool, slag wool, stone wool, and ceramic wool. These are all under the mineral wool family, and they are all manufactured from different raw materials as well. So ultimately, they will be having different product properties as well. So ultimately, the proper selection is not happening here. So whenever you are doing such selection, make sure that you mention the correct generic name of the product that you're looking for, because they will be having different properties. So this is the product that we manufacture, that is the stone wool material. In red, you can see it is manufactured from the basic raw material, that is basalt rocks. So coming to the ROCKWOOL solutions, now we know that insulation is important. We also saw what are the most important properties that are involved in the selection of insulation, or the most important performance parameters that you should actually look for in insulation materials. So here at ROCKWOOL, we have all the solutions that are needed for a building, specifically the single skin, double skin metal roofs, drywall partitions, flat roofs, metal sandwich panels, false ceilings, industrial walls, or external facade. So almost anywhere there is a requirement for acoustic, thermal comfort, or the fire safety, you can actually go for our material. Now, when we are talking specifically about this roofing area, which is in the warehousing, it's mostly the roof, which is mostly insulated so that the heat is not getting inside, or the heat can be stopped at the top itself. So here, the roof systems, when we talk about under insulation, we have the underdeck insulation, overdeck insulation, and sandwich panels. So these are the 3 different types of systems where the insulation is done in the roofs. Under the underdeck insulation, we have the single skin roof. And for overdeck insulations, we have the flat roof or the single ply roof membranes, and also the double skin roofing. Sandwich panels, we have the roof panels. I'll show you the pictures of all these different roof systems. And most importantly, at ROCKWOOL, we have a specific product for each of these different applications. The reason behind having a different product for each of these applications is the requirement for different properties in each of these applications. I'll show you what are these different requirements when we talk about a single skin roof, or a flat roof, and a double skin roof. So the first product that I want to introduce to you from the ROCKWOOL range is the Cool and Comfort product. This product comes in 2 types. One is a roll form. You can see the picture here. This is a building roll type of material with a alu foil. And then we also have a Cool and Comfort slab, which comes with and also without aluminum foil. So for the blanket type of material that you see here can be used for the single skin roof systems. So it is normally called as underdeck insulation. And then you have the double skin roof system, where there are 2 metal sheets, and you can probably use the Cool and Comfort slab. I think these pictures are a bit here and there. So actually this one is the double skin roof system with 2 metal sheets, and this one is the single skin roof system. So sorry for that. And second product that we want to introduce to you is the hard rock product, which is targeted at the flat roof insulation, which means the insulation is done from the top. So here, the most important properties that are expected when an insulation is done from the top is the compressive strength of the material, and it has to have a high point load because while applying this insulation on the top, people will be walking on it. So if you see these people here doing the application job, you'll see that the person is walking on the insulation material. So if you are seeing such insulation materials, it is very soft in nature. But if it wants to people to walk on it, it has to have a good compressive strength. So these materials are designed as per the requirement. That is, it has a good compressive strength and also a good point load. And most importantly, it is also a FM approved product. So this is for the flat roof insulation or the overdeck roofing. And then we have the premium product of our range here. That is the product which goes as a core insulation material for sandwich panels. So here the insulation slab, you can see this particular slab, this insulation is called as the conrock material in our terms. And then when it is cut into lamella form, we call it as the lamrock insulation. So we supply it in two forms, that is in a slab form and also in a lamella form. So this is specifically for the OEMs who are making the sandwich panels. Now, why should you prefer a Stonewool material over the other type of insulations that are available in the market? As I told you before, you just saw that there are many properties that you have to look at while selecting the insulation material, and there were many properties. And I also told you that no material is available which can actually fulfill all the property requirements. So here I want to introduce you to the Stonewool insulation, which has most of these properties covered. When I say most of these properties, you ask for fire, we can give you. You ask for acoustics, we have the highest NRC in the range of 0.95 to 1. The fire resistance level is A1 fire classification as per the EN 13501. And the other property, that is the thermal efficiency, it is on par with most of the other mineral wool insulation materials available in the market. And specifically, if you want to talk about the fire property, this material has a high melting point in the range of 1200 degrees Celsius, which is very good. So this can surely help you in the warehousing industry because when you are talking about warehouse, it is about the all costly materials that are stored in such warehouses, which needs a proper storage or proper protection. These are some certifications that our material has. As I told you, these materials are all A1 fire classified, that is EN 13501 class. UL 723 ASTM E84 is also available. That is, they don't have flame, or they do not catch flame, or they do not have, they also have a zero smoke property. We also have the FM 4880 for our products, specifically the Cool and Comfort and the Conrock and Lamrock products. This is for the roofing area. And then we have the FM 4470. This is the hard rock product that you saw, which was used in the overdeck roofing areas. Apart from this, our product is UL approved. See, they have the Singapore Green Building Council approvals. Green Pro is also there. And most importantly, our products are also USEB approved. This is a European certificate, which clearly mentions that the product that we manufacture are all biosoluble, which means this is about the safety of the people who are using the material or who live in an area where the material is being used. So even if the fibers get inside your body, they are not going to affect you in any way, which means they are all biosoluble fibers. So this is a very good property which helps the building industry. So lastly, this is a small story. I will read it for you. A Native American legend. The Amazon forest is on fire. The fire devastates wildlife and flora. The hummingbird takes water in its beak from the lake to calm the flames. The armadillo laughs at him. It's not you alone who will put out this fire. The hummingbird then replies, no, I know, but I'm doing my part. So this quality is what we require in each of us. We will do our part as insulation material manufacturers for the climatic changes that are happening. I think this is what will make a difference. Ultimately, everybody should do their own part. Thank you. So we will start with the questions. Thank you. Thank you, Rima. So should we start with the questions?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can start with the questions if you have questions.
No, I think we can take later on once I think Rima completes her
Okay, sure.
sir.
We can take the questions later. So let's moving on to the fireside chat now on the topic importance of insulation in roofing. And we have two moderators for this session with us today. Mr. Badruddin Sudanwala, Head of Business Development, India, ROXUL Technical Insulation Private Limited. He has more than 30 years of experience in technical sales, building material and industrial projects. We have Mr. Atul Athavale, National Sales Manager, ITI and GBI India and Sri Lanka, ROXUL Technical Insulation India Private Limited. He has more than 22 years of work experience in manufacturing, technical sales, etc. He previously worked with ROCKWOOL India, Murugappa Group. So I would like to return the time over to you both.
Thank you, Rima. And thank you, Vimal, for the fantastic presentation. Before we move on to the fireside chat, I'm extremely glad to introduce our panelists for today. We have Mr. Mahindra Pigle from Tata BlueScope. Good afternoon, sir. Mr. Mahindra Pigle is the Deputy General Manager, Market Development for Tata BlueScope. And along with Mr. Pingle, we have Mr. Vinayak Dave. Mr. Vinayak Dave is the Senior Business Development Manager for Metechno India. So a very warm welcome to Mr. Pingle and Mr. Dave. Thank you for joining us, and I think it's a pleasure to have you all on board for this panel discussion or this fireside chat. We have a few questions to you both, gentlemen, regarding the importance of insulation in roofing, or rather in the entire importance of insulation in building and construction. So along with me, I have my colleague Atul. I will request Atul to start with the questions and let's take this forward. Atul, over to you.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Badruddin, and good afternoon all again, and welcome to our session today. Just to warm up the session, and think it's a very common question in today's scenario. As we know, we have been facing the COVID pandemic from past 1.5 years, and our lives as well as our industries has tremendously changed. So very simple question or very basic question in this scenario to our panelists today. So after COVID-19, the world would have never be the same again in terms of doing business. So what we would like to know, what is your take in future business opportunity and in India coming back to normal? Do you see the robust growth in near future in terms of building and construction segments? So just any, I would like the panelist, Mr. Pingle and Mr. Dave, maybe you can just comment on these questions, sir.
Thanks, Atul and Vimal. It was a good presentation, and it's really eye opener for all the audience to what is the difference between the Stonewool and ROCKWOOL and Slagwool and all sort of things. Yeah, talking about the COVID situation and our opportunity, business opportunity in India coming back to normal. But I would say, as per the ROXUL report, the India still demand to rise by 12 to 13% in FY22. And highest growth rate amongst the 10 consuming nations. India is also one of that. India is currently the second largest steel producer in the world. And demand for steel in India is per capita consumption is about 75, which is far lower than the world average consumption of 224. So growth is good. And talking about the robustness growth in near future, as per you, people are also understanding the government is talking about the GDP growth for India is around 9 to 10% for this coming year. And I believe it is almost close to the FY20. So last year it was a dip by minus 7.3%, but growth is there, and we've all seen the market, it is booming, and everyone is busy to supply the material. Another point I would like to highlight here in case of warehousing, especially warehousing, which is giving about 50% of the growth, which is during the COVID period. And people are demanding, and there is no restriction, or there is no no degrowth happens. The growth happens because of warehousing industry, I would say, and the pharma companies. So estimated warehousing market for India, it was about 12.2 billion US dollar, and it was expected to be 19.5 billion by 2025. So you can see the very strong growth is expected in the e-commerce or warehousing industry. And as per the government, next 4 to 5 years plan, the government is talking about 3 to 4 trillion worth of project is going to come. So the future is very bright, and we are in the growing country, and growth is going to be definitely there is very high. You are seeing a lot of infrastructure projects are coming, railways, metros, the renovations of railway stations. So many things are, you are seeing it, and it has been coming. And we can see 1,000 kilometers of metro is going to be built by 2022. So another point of government reforms, that's about 5 proposed industrial corridors, which is very big: Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, then Vizag, Chennai, Bangalore, Mumbai, Amritsar, Kolkata. These are the all corridors is going to build, and there is a big potential for steel industry or the construction industry in near future. Another thing is Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is also a product link incentives for 13 sectors. Then 42 mega food parks. Then there is a sector specific industrial clusters are also going to build, like our textile sectors is going to build in the UP area or that. So these are the, I would say these are the huge opportunity for coming years. And I would say this growth is good, predicted growth is about 9 to 10%. So we have lots to do for this. And I believe the steel construction industries are geared to do that after the post-COVID also. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. And that's a very detailed kind of information you have shared. Thank you, sir. Mr. Dave, any comments from your side?
Very beautifully, thanks, Mr. Vimal, for that presentation. Mr. Pingle, very beautifully, you have put it through. Regarding COVID, just to put it in perspective, I feel that is something that will stay, that we cannot avoid. To put it in perspective, it took us about 12 to 13 years just to eradicate polio, and that was not even a pandemic. So COVID is something that we have to learn to live with. The predicted growth for the construction industry, till 2025 is about 11 to 12%. That is predicted. The optimistic view is still 15%, but the construction industry as such will grow till 11 to 12% on a very conservative range. So the opportunity for construction industries is there. It is going to be there. Especially the fact that we spend 90% of our time in buildings, and that is what we are doing right now. So that is something that will increase over time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dave, for your insights, and thank you, Mr. Pingle, for the detailed analysis what you have kind of presented. Now, I think just taking the lead from what Mr. Pingle highlighted, that the growth with warehouses is going to be phenomenal. And even I think that they were seconded by Mr. Dave as well. So my next question to both of you all would be that, we are living in a VUCA world right now. Our world is, surrounded by volatility and uncertainties and complexities and ambiguity. And so we, as we call it, as the VUCA world, we are living in right now. And, we are encountering challenges like COVID and other climatic changes and so on. So my question to both of you all is that the demand of pre-engineering building is obviously increasing, and we all know that. So what are the opportunities and the challenges that you all see in the design of pre-engineering buildings and, with the overall construction industry? the opportunities and challenges for both. And the second part of my question is that what are the future technologies that are needed in today's times to address the challenges, if there are any? So I would request both of you all to share your feedback on that.
Yeah, Vinayak, you want to take or?
I think I'll start off with a few, that I see. For example, in the sandwich panel industry,
right?
The opportunities that you see now are, in regarding the facade works that you have. Earlier this was something that was more towards a design aspect or the industrial facades and roofing. Whereas the COVID has given new normals. Now it's all about sustainability. It's all about fire insulation. It's all about the safety of the warehouse. So those are a few things that are come up. Those are the new opportunities that will be there. The next opportunity regarding these sandwich panels would be, more so on the insulation area, would be about how quickly you can do it. You do not have labor available very soon, or the materials, raw materials, will not be easily obtainable. So you want to have some material. This will be the opportunity that we have, where how quickly you are able to install it, how quickly you are able to deliver it from point A to point B, and that would be the insulation aspect and the fire safety part. The threat again is the development again is in this area, the panel itself. The threat as such is now all about how the machinery that you have. We do not have specialized machinery, so that is where we'll need to work on. As such, that is where the focus would be. Going on that. Again, you will need a skilled labor, and that is where that will come into picture in this case. So that is what I perceive as the future growth. More so, the opportunity itself is a challenge. So that is how I see it.
Okay.
Over to you, Mr. Pingle. Any points on that?
Yeah, as I said, a lot of opportunities are there in the pre-engineering buildings. Now there are experts in the industry, because earlier, if you can go back to 10 years, so pre-engineering building was a new concept, 10 to 15 years, I would say. So it was, but it is booming, and everywhere the conventional buildings are taken over by the PEB, pre-engineering buildings. And they can span more than 100 meters. That is a clear span, multi-span, different heights. Now people are talking about multi-story buildings, steel buildings, high-rise buildings. Instead of extending to the ground, it is going to upward, horizontal versus vertical. So there are a lot of opportunities, and I believe there are some of the companies are working on high-rise buildings in the steel structures, which is, I believe, this is one of the technology, and the exports like Kirby's or Butler brands from Tata Blue Scopes and some of the companies, Interarch. So they are in this business since a long time, and they have the expertise into this. So the technology is there, but only the adoptions and implementations now people are talking about. So if you can see, the Western culture is multi-story buildings are there, but in India, we are not talking about it. And that is one of the things. I would say the acceptance point of view, customers are gaining more preference to the pre-engineered buildings, as I said, because of it is more sustainable, eco-friendly, and it is a green in nature. So people are working inside the factory with comfort, get good factors on that. And the green building concepts has gained momentum. You can see everywhere people talk about green and green and green and sustainable building. So green and sustainable building means it is more on economics. So all three factors. So yeah, so that sort of things I know acceptable. People are adopting that, and it is far superior products. I would say the green buildings, that is steel buildings over the RCC, because of so many positive points on the early occupancies and design flexibility, and it can be save a lot of environmental factors. So talking about the challenges, so there are, we can see the steel prices are always on upside. So also lead time is also bigger concerns. So the people's today they book the order and tomorrow these prices are not viable. So sometimes they have to refuse, or sometimes they have to negotiate again and again. So the end customer is not happy, and so that's why the expansions of whatever they are doing, or they are delaying it. So that's a COVID impact, and there are also some of the global issues on the steel prices and carbon emissions, reduction in the carbon emissions. You are saying that almost 30-40% of the steel company in China has been closed down because of the carbon emissions. So countries are talking about the green concepts or sustainable buildings or zero discharge sort of things. And Tata BlueScope Steel Australia, Tata Steels, they are talking about that, and we are more concerns of the environment than production, the producing the material. So this is one of the factors I would say. Another point in the challenges, since the prices are gone up and people are trying to go for low quality products. So they want to just complete the building, whatever the material. So low quality acceptance has been getting preferred over during the construction, as the quality is a second priority. And as you said, there is a problem in the lack of skilled manpower, and so that is also big concerns. Skill means, and it has to be done, because if you're talking about if product is good and if the installation is not done properly, so you are not getting that benefits. That's weather tightness or zero water leakage and all those things, ingressions and all those things. So these are all parameters does impact, and quality of workmanships is play a very important role to achieve desired results. Yeah, so these are the from my side. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. And I think in continuation to what you commented, sir, like projects are getting delayed for, you mentioned it is for some commercial reasons, because day by day the raw material prices are getting increased, and you have to again renegotiate the projects with the project owner. So that may be one of the reasons to get the project delays. But we have seen from past, because of the pandemic also, there have been delay in the projects. Either projects are delayed or deferred. So our next question was very similar to that point only, that in your view, how is the demand of insulation solutions in type of construction what you are into today supposed to be pan out because of all this delay? Is there any change in requirement of insulation solutions, or you would like to have the same kind of solutions, or would like to provide the same kind of solutions to meet the today's lead time, or whatever you can say?
Actually, there was some sound issue, connectivity issue. Can you just repeat the question?
No, I'll repeat my question. It was actually in continuation to what you had said. You mentioned that there has been a significant delay in projects because the raw material prices are keep on changing, and again, every manufacturer has to go back and renegotiate the project with the project owners. That may be the reason for one of the reason for delay in projects. But we have also seen, because of this pandemic also, there is delay in projects, or projects are getting delayed or deferred. So what we would like to know, in your view, how is the demand of insulation solutions you can see to meet these kind of delays? Is there any change in, you would like to offer any change kind of insulation, whatever you propose in your buildings to meet the lead times, or whatever you can say, sir?
Actually, see, this is mostly from the client side, and sometimes this is the overall picture of the country. So delay is because of so many reasons. Because of the COVID, because of the lack of manpower, there is a lack of prices are again going up and all these things. So they are a wait and watch. So it's not related to only the one item. They talk about the complete projects. So what's yeah, so there are so many things, but yeah, people are trying and they are paying and they can't wait. That's why you can see people are paying for it. But you can see there is a dip or slowdown in last 6 months or during that second waves. So we have seen that. And there is also steel prices are going up and all these things. So overall picture is like that, but people are there, the companies are there, because warehouse industry, you can see there is no delay. They have grown and they have the big support for the country, for the construction industry during that pandemic also. So there are companies, MNCs, they have not stopped. Things are there, but most of the infrastructure projects, government projects, so it is because of lack of manpower, steel people, contractors. So there are so many factors are there. Yeah.
So similarly, we have a question in chat box also. One Mr. Nimran Ajmeri has asked a question. Okay, similar to what you're saying. His question is, what type of insulation do you recommend and why for warehouse and godowns?
See, depends on insulation, which gives so many benefits. As Vimal said about the acoustics property, thermal comfort, then your condensation control, which is very, very important part, which any building industry is going for it. So these benefits are there. And talking about the energy efficiency and the environment, I would say the mineral wool, which is good, and you can go with the insulation should have very good. It should be lightweight. It should be easy to handle, transportable, easy to erect. So all sort of things. Talking about what is the value they are talking about, whether the U value or R value. And normally the go downs, or if you talk about A-class go downs, then they go with higher thickness, higher density values and all those things. They have the standards, whether this warehouse located in the west region or south region, or depends on the local climate. So there are options. People are going for rock wool, glass wool, and sometimes people go with the bubble type of insulations. So these are the insulations have been people using for this. I have seen some of the factories are used with the puff panel also, because of the cold storage where they need the right kind of controls, temperature and all these things. So this sort of insulation should go for it.
Yeah, in addition to what Pingley Saab said, the insulation again varies as per what your factory is, what you're storing there. If it is something that is easily ignitable, we would suggest you go with ROCKWOOL panel, something that will protect your factory as such. If it is not something where you're going for, you don't want to look into your material is not ignitable, or it is just for facade works that you're going for, just to cover it up and say, to give it more strength, but there's no other purpose. Then we would suggest you can go with single skin sheet, or you can go with puff panel is what we recommend. In that case, there are various thicknesses, there's what do you call? There's puff, there's PIR, that is polyisocyanate foam. So that is what you go for. And then the choice of your insulation also depends on, as Pingley Saab rightly pointed out, is where you're located. If you're located in a heavy wind zone, or in an area where it's prone to heavy rainfall, the choice of insulation, the type of coating that you're going for varies accordingly. So it all depends on what your factory is or warehouse is and what you're doing there. So to decide what your insulation should be.
Thank you, Mr. Dave. I think, yeah, and Mr. Pingle, I think those inputs were really good, in terms of selecting the right insulation. So I think one point which we should also probably consider is the health of the humans, or probably the people who are actually constructing the warehouse. So I guess the material, insulation material or any other material that we are using, probably something when you have a choice of using a non-carcinogenic material or a biosoluble material, then probably we should select that rather than going for something which is going to cause health issues to the workers who are actually going to build that. So I think my suggestion and my appeal to the owners and to the designers is that I think let's be a bit more aware and more be more human towards these things, because generally this is ignored, and I think for in people like us from the construction industry, we have to kind of initiate this at our end. So thanks for your input. I think I'll just continue with the point of energy efficiency, sustainability, and environment. I think both of you all shared some good inputs on that. So I think most of the researchers say that buildings in general, they consume 30% of energy in general, and around 28% of carbon emissions are done buildings would emit 28% of carbon as such. So what is your take on reducing the energy consumption of buildings by selecting better insulation materials or better building materials in general for making it more energy efficient or less consumption of energy?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, Vinayak, shall I take it or you want to take it?
You can go ahead, sir. I'll go after you.
Actually, no. If you talk about the building materials, yeah, definitely insulation is one of the good insulating material, or provide the thermal efficiency and all these things. So other than that, and we have discussed about a lot of things on the stone wool, what is the benefits of it and how much is energy saving and all these things. I'm taking one more steps that. So the material, which is the cladding material, because insulation has to be in between, the sandwiched, or it has to be protected with some other external membrane, so that it will protect and it will give their benefits. If it is wet, then there will be a problem. It will not going to give that benefits. So the roofing material. So we can talk about different roofing materials being used. There's a clay tiles or asbestos or cements or metals and all these things. And that material is also having the solar radiations, and it absorbs a lot of heat, solar heats and all these things, and it transmits to the buildings. And even the insulations are there, it is also not going to give some of the further problems. So you have to go with the higher thickness. If it is a clay tile, if even though putting the insulation, it is going to absorb a lot of it. And then you have to go with, instead of 50 mm, you have to go with 100 mm. So the insulation property has to be improved. What is the material at external side? So talking about nowadays, the metal sheets are coming with the color coated forms. It is since long time. And what the latest technologies talk about the cool comfort, cool roofing. Right. Cool roofing means whatever the heat, solar radiations comes to interact with the metal sheet, it's reflect back to the atmosphere. The solar reflectance values has been increased. We call it a solar reflective index. So if it is a color coated steel, the thermal reflectivity of white color is very high. If it is black color, it is a reflectance value is almost 0. So black body versus white body. So whatever the incidental heat is coming, it is reflecting back to the atmosphere, and whatever the heat radiated downside is going to be less. So the Tata Blue Scope steels, the color bond pen system, it is there with the Thermatech technology, where you can get more solar reflectance, SRI value compared to any other standard equivalent color. So because we use inorganic pigments and ceramic pigments, which are infrared reflective. So whatever the heat is coming from that, from the radiation solar, so it's reflect back, and whatever, and also it has a good thermal emittance. So heat radiated downward for that is almost up to, we can say, for 6 degree, up to 6 degree reduction. So that gives the additional benefit for the insulation. So if insulation, if you have the insulation underneath, you will get further reduction to the temperature. So even though if you get 1 to 2 degree temperature reduction using the higher reflective materials on the external side, you will feel comfort and you can save almost 15% of the electricity consumption. So it is complementary to each other, just like a high solar reflective material with the insulation. So it will give a bit additional benefits to your cooling cost and all those things. So the point is that highly reflective and highly emissive material. Here we talk about color coated steel, but people go with the roof material is always a bare unpainted product. But emissivity of the bare material or unpainted material is low compared to light color coated material. So SRI value of the product is always be higher than the bare material. So my suggestion to that, if somebody is looking for cool comfort, so they should go with the color coated material on the roof, because direct solar heat, solar radiation is coming in, incident on the roofing material. So one of the thumb rule is I would say every 1% increment of the roof reflectance, the surface temperature decreases by 1 Fahrenheit. And another thing is that the 10% increase of roof reflectance, the heating or cooling cost drop by 5 rupees per square feet. So this is the research data from the Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. They have declared that this is what the findings they talk about. So more reflective material will have the good benefits onto that. So this is what I would say. It's insulating material, and the ROCKWOOL, that is ROXUL ROCKWOOL product is good for, I would say, for public buildings, for airports, where acoustic is very, very important part of it. And ROCKWOOL has a STC value higher, and where you can have the combination of some of the different layers, you can achieve STC value by up to 45%, or U value by 0.2%, 0.2 U value. So there are the different combination where you can use that, and you can control the air conditioning temperature. You can reduce the air conditioning load whenever people are going on the airports, wherever the buildings with the auditoriums and all sort of things. So it's good. The water heat leakage is going to be less, and you will control the temperature inside. And also, you can have the good control on the condensation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. As Pingley sir was saying, my take on this is it is just not the material that you need to look, towards to reduce your energy consumption. It basically starts from the design itself, the design and the early concept that you're looking into of your building. Like how they say in T20 cricket, you can't play it in an ODI format where you play slow and then you slog it further. So the concept or the idea is basically try to reduce as much energy sucking material or energy taking material from the very beginning, from the design itself. As Bingley right, also said, about the material choice. The solar reflective index of the material plays a very important factor. Then it's all about the insulation that you're going for, the location that you're looking into, that basically looks into how your design is. So that is just this is just an addition that you need to do it from the beginning. So, or as they say, nip it from the bud. So you do the cut from the beginning, and you need not have to worry about the energy consumption later on.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
That's a
Yeah,
good
building
point.
design is very, very important. What is the ventilation, how the orientation of buildings, then, so these all parameters are very, very important to control these factors of temperature control inside the. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Dave and Mr. Pingle. And the next question, moreover, Mr. Pingle has already explained very well in the previous question while he was answering that. The answer of next question also you have covered most of that. But still, I would like to know, see, while making either sandwich panels or your pre-engineered buildings, you have a lot of insulation product to choose from. Even our Indian market also, we have lots of manufacturers and different types of insulation products available. We would simply like to know what criteria do you follow while choosing the insulation product. Now, this is now more specific on the insulation product. The question is, we'd like to know what criteria do you follow while choosing the insulation products.
So yes, sir. See, the choice of your insulation product is more so related to the U value or the thermal conductivity that you are looking into of your area. If how much comfort you want in your building, whether you want or you want sound absorption or acoustic comfort. So these two are the primary factors that we really look into when giving you the right choice of insulation. And then accordingly, we give you, your region also really plays a important part. Where you're located in, what location is that you're in, what is your ambient or your internal temperature and external temperature. If you're in extreme areas like in Jharkhand where temperatures reach 42 in summers, or maybe even 50 sometimes. So it all depends on the location, how much or your internal processes that you're having. For example, even if your temperature outside is less and you have intense, heavy or heat generating machinery inside, that really will play a factor in the right choice of the panel or the sandwich material that you're going for. So we offer in three options. At Matechno, we have polyurethane foam, we have PIR, and then there is always mineral wool or rock wool, as we have, that is Hypertech range. So when it comes to the temperature, we suggest puff or PIR. One reason is that it gives you good insulation, heat in the thermal insulation. Secondly, it is a fire retardant material. Whereas when you're looking at sound absorption, we go with rock wool material, where the sound is absorbed less. It gives you a good fire rating. If you have very expensive machinery there and you want to save your building, so that is one choice that we suggest.
But see, I totally agree with that. But since we are the supplier and the decision makers lies with the consultants and architects, and the usage buildings requirement, the owner is going to tell them this is what my requirement, and he decide what is the values. You value, I want 0.2 or I want 0.6 or I want 0.8. Based on that, the selection is been done. The value can be achieved by using rock wool or grass wool or any other material which is a insulating material along with the different layers, or the acoustics can be done. If somebody is asking for the perforated sheets with some of the clothes, the different clothes or membranes are required there. So the use based on the applications and based on the use of the building, it has been decided. And we as a supplier, we follow the guidelines. What is the consultant look for? What is the end client to ask for? But the decision is there with them, and they decide this is the best, and they know pretty well about the properties of the different materials available no, the market. They select it, and basically the U value, R value, and finally the cost. What is the cost is going to come. So that's my point. So we are there. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a good feedback. I guess I think we've covered a lot of different aspects in terms of the PEB buildings as well as the materials that are used in a sandwich panel. So thank you, Mr. Pingle, and thank you, Mr. Dave. I think this was a very good discussion in terms of how things have progressed and the challenges that we are facing and the future of construction and so on. And I think the points that we have covered, like how to select the right building material, right insulation material, I think we've had some good discussions and some good insights from you, gentlemen. So thank you so much. I think I request Vimal to probably take it forward from here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all the speakers for sharing your thoughts. And I'm sure today's takeaway will be very helpful for all of us. So we appreciate you being here. And thank you once again for joining us today. Have a good day and stay safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.